Good morning, good beautiful morning to each and every one of you, fellow crafters, friendly crafters. Today I am making a mess and making a mess on my hands. I should have put on some gloves, but I don't mind the mess. I'm quite comfortable with it. It's fine. I'm making the journal with the oranges in it and these colors. And so I am going here and staining some paper. I did this process very early in my junk journaling, and I have a stack still left here. But the papers in this are not really as pretty. So I'm hoping maybe I can bring some of these back to life. Right here is one that I've just finished. These are very wet. So I just finished staining this one and putting a little orange in there. Though it's reading a little red to me now. It may be different when it finishes. Here's one that's got tinges. There we go. Paper just develops these. I love these, I don't know, like veins after a while. I'll push those over to the side. I really like them to kind of stay wet, kind of marry into each other. I may go back and add some more color to these. All right, they're wet and they tear easily. The corners tear. So some of the older paper is a higher quality paper that I had at that time. I thought I ordered it the last time. I couldn't remember what the poundage was on this, how many pounds that paper was. Now this is getting these air bubbles, and I don't want those. When I see those air bubbles, I want to tap those out. But see what I mean about the veining? Can you, if I stop flopping it around, maybe I can see on my iPad it's not showing up very well. But anyway, the veining that develops is just gorgeous. Anyway, so this stack here, it hasn't taken very long at all. The process goes pretty quickly, but it is messy. I'm finding splatters all over the place. All right, there's a little bubbling coming up. All right, there's some more. And I'll kind of clean up there. Luckily, this mat is old. I don't care if it gets stained up. All right, oh, pretty paper, pretty page. Really pretty. Anyway, all right, I'm just gonna pick this whole stack up and move them over. But I did notice that the bottom paper was a little blah. Blah. We don't want blah papers. So to use this, as soon as I get this stack moved, I will show you what I'm using to do this. I'm sure you could use watercolors. As a matter of fact, I tried to dig out my watercolors, and from the move, I have no idea where I put them. They may still be up in my upstairs space. So I was down here. I was ready to dig in, and so I didn't really take the time. All right, I think you need to, so to do this, what I'm using are Lindy Stamp Gang's Magicals, and I like the flats. The others are gorgeous, very gorgeous, but they kind of get that sheen that has that mica in it. And while a little bit of that is okay, too much of it just doesn't fit in with anything that I'll be doing. So I'm using the flats. Then I also have these sprays. This Drop Dead Gorgeous Green, aptly named. This is gorgeous. And I'm definitely using that. Then I have Canna Lily Burnt Orange, pretty color. And then I'm really liking the Hydrangea Blue. Now I'm being careful not to stir those around too much. And I have some pipettes here, because what I do is I try not to jiggle these around too much. I've got 3 back here that I've just decided, maybe not so much. Maybe not what I want to be using. Then I have a couple of mixing cups. for these dry ones. These are wet, obviously. Oh, shook up. Don't want to do that. So I can, and I've been using the orange Tears on My Pillow Tangerine, and it's a flat. All of these have flat, say flat, except for my sidewalk chalk. And I've not used that before. So I'm going to set that over to the side. And I do have a bit of black. I don't think I'm going to use that, but it's there in case the urge strikes. All right. So right now I'll go ahead and I'm running out of water. I should have filled up with water. That was, oh, there, I've got some. I've always got water over here. All right. I'm going to pour a little water in there. Then I'm going to put in some more tangerine. And these other colors, Rizzo's Rowdy Red, Danny Zuko's Denim, Grease Lightning Green, and Sandra D Sepia. Now I'm also using my coffee. I'm putting coffee stain into the paper as we go. Now I'm going to sprinkle some of this dry stuff into my water. Stir it in. Messy. That's all right. You know you're having fun when you make a mess, right? Sometimes I get too... Oh, I guess you have to find that happy medium. Sometimes it gets so messy I can't work. Sometimes I'm so neat I can't find my can't get my creative juices flowing. All right, now what I'm going to do is, now, hey, while you're working, I have to be really careful with this one because it's open. I spilled it a little bit earlier and had to mop it up with I put some papers over here where it was setting. Now this stuff, this dry stuff goes everywhere. It's real light and fluffy, and you'll just find it floating all around. Okay, this one is getting pretty stained up. I don't know. I don't know if that's something I'm going to save. You know, I just have to put a limit on how much I keep around here. It's a small space. I mean, it's not a small space, but for everything I have, it's a small space. And I have to be selective about what I'm bringing back in here and keeping. So keeping all that kind of stuff, I don't know, maybe a little bit of it. All right, there's my wet stack. I'm going to bring over. So when I use these, I'm going to take the lids off and then put them right back on. All right, so I'm bringing over a dry sheet of paper. And this is one that when I did this, now see, this is why I decided I wanted to mix up the dry ones. Sometimes these work like brushes, and you get the effect of like brushes where it splatters. And for some things, I might like that effect, but I've not really found an occasion to do that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to wet down my paper. And I need to fill up my spray bottle. And my coffee's running low. Would have been nice to have refilled this. I think this was pretty strong. I'm going to add some water to it. I use the instant coffee, and you can just make that anytime, anywhere. Let's put in a little bit more. Oh, when we're getting our paper wet, that is a good thing, not a bad thing. See? All happy, all happy. Nothing's a mistake when you're doing this. Don't you love that when nothing is a mistake? Nothing you can't change. All right. Thank you, Jar of Water, for being here. You saved me. Now, when I use this sprayer, my coffee sprayer is kind of gentle. It's more a mister. But when I use this spray, that's when it all gets splattered all back here. I keep looking on I've got some drawers back here where I keep stuff, frequently used things. And the front of them are just, well. All right, there we go. Now I'm gonna flip it over. Let some of that water, actually, I'm just letting the water drain off. I'm gonna get it wet, Coffee stain, spray that on. All right, now I'm gonna take my pipette and my one that I'm using the reds for, or the orange for. And I'm just gonna kind of dot that around there. Oh, see some dry places, and kind of like to get this going. Get it moving around the paper. So, hey, if it slides off, not a problem. Because then, guess what gets some attention? The back side of the page. Ooh, ooh. They're all so pretty. All right, getting it going, getting the paper wet. All right, now I want some blue. So I'm going to take my hydrangea blue and my pipette that's got the blue in it. And I'm just going to do a little square here, there. All right. Screw the lid back on so that when I hit it, which I invariably will, it doesn't go everywhere. All right, we got I don't need the orange too much. And then I want to put on some Drop Dead Gorgeous Green, aptly named. All right, so that's on there. And what I do is I just flip it over. And I'm going to put down a little water here. And I'm going to kind of, whoops, getting dangerously close to getting on my clothes. Let me clean off this edge. I'll have my, do not wear your best clothes when you're doing this. If you're going to something important in the next couple of days, and definitely wear gloves, because you're definitely going to get some stuff on you. All right, again, with the Drop Dead Green. I think green, you know, I used to say red was my favorite color, but actually I love all colors, but I'm really drawn to greens. Love the greens. And I want to put a little bit of orange back on here. I kind of like the darker. I could keep it light, and it will dry fairly light. It's not going to dry super strong. That one is not. I've got a couple that are not. They're just coffee dyed mixed in. I'll set those over here. This one, I don't know, pretty grungy. Now, can you see the sheen that the flat sleeve, or that there's kind of like a metallic in there. I'm going to set that to the side. I'm not sure this one can be saved. Maybe. No, I'm not going to. All right, more coffee dyed. Copy. Aha. Here we go. All right, here's a piece of paper. I'm going to wet it down. Get it wet. Spray a little coffee. Get it wet. And then, ta-da. Gonna get it in here. Now it's not completely soaked, so that's all right. Ooh. Ooh. It's like fireworks. Ooh, ah. Ooh, ah. Ooh, ah. Coffee. And this needs a little attention. It needs a little color. So I'm gonna orange. All right. Green. It's already kind of green. I'm gonna get some more down there. And blue. hope you're all doing well this morning. Yeah, I'm filming in the morning. I've lost a couple times I filmed at night. Well, yesterday was during the day, but I don't know how often I'll be getting out videos. I'm not on a regular schedule yet. I can see there's a lot of work to it. This one didn't have a lot of color, so I pulled it off the damp pile over here. And I just go back through until I kind of like the way there's a little piece that tore a corner. So easy to tear a corner. You know what, I know that the journal that I'm planning on putting, that's a pretty page. I'm not going to do too much to it. Maybe this side a little bit of orange. And a little bit of blue. No, green. Yeah, I can use up these spray bottles by just avoiding the mica down in the bottle and not getting that mixed up in my papers. Okay, sorry, it's taking a while to grab that corner. Some of these are getting pretty cooked. Some of these are just about where I want them to be. This one, I would put in that category. And I think what I'm going to do, I should have gotten this out. I should have got out a piece of freezer paper and laid them down there. Hey, 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I've exceeded my time limit. Grabbing my freezer paper. And I'm back over here, but I'm going to set this beside me for the ones that, oh, come on, that tear. Sorry to be off the screen. Hi. Okay, scissors. For some reason, it is not tearing. And I need my paper so I can get back to dyeing. All right. Set that back there. This on the floor. Oh, maybe we can rearrange. Yes. I'm going to set this beside me. I'm going to start putting the papers I'm really happy with on this page. On this. They are just about where I want them to be. So here I got that. I'm going to try to lay these out as flat as possible. I'm having a little trouble with it rolling up. So I'm going to lay it out like this for the moment, temporarily. And here's my water jar that should keep it. All right. I want this laying flat. There we go. And I move this over to the side. And I'm going to take my papers that I feel like, yeah, I like them. And put them back over there. And this one, oh, love that side. And I'm just laying it out. I'm going to go crisscross. Here's a sheet that ooh, it's so beautiful in person here. It is just unbelievable how beautiful it is. This one I like. I think it's cooked. It's ready for the finish pile. All right. And this one, we'll have to see. That was one I did before. It may not quite ever be where I want it to be. But, so I'm going to move on. All right. I'm going to bring this stack back over and work some more on them. Sort through, see which ones are done and which ones I want to spend more time on. I'll flip that over, and I've got a few more over here. And I think most of, especially these down here, are about done. This one I really like the looks of. And so it's going over here. This one, let's see, got one more over here, and this is where I want to, you've got to move, because I'm going to put the papers that need work. I think that one's good. I think I like it. This one, I don't know, just not speaking to me yet. So I'm going to do a little bit more work on it. These people are kind of crinkled. That's all right. That one needs a little help. This one, a little orange. No, I don't know. I like that. Maybe just a tinge of orange. Just a drop. Kind of spread it. Hey, I got a great tool at hand. Spread that around. I really don't want to get it any more wet. It's sopping as it is. I'm going to set it over there. I don't know how that's going to turn out, but okay. We're getting down to these that need more color and to lay flatter. Moving them around. Yeah, that needs just a little bit more work. A little bit, yeah. I just think all down here. So I'm going to flip this over here. And we're going to come back and give this set of papers another dose. Oh my, we've been at this 22 minutes. I think in one of my videos I told you I spent 3 days doing this. I just love the process. It was kind of fun. My papers weren't tearing quite like this because of that thicker, heavier paper I used. All right, and spread it around. What I need too is a paintbrush, but so many, but not near me. I'm gonna go grab that. Oh, here. This is how to do it. Oh, yeah. Somebody's home. Filming. Good morning, Mother. Did you guys have fun? Do you need to talk? I can pause. Okay, guys, I'm gonna pause and I'll come back to you. All right, they have been gone. Hi, my parents have been gone back again, and they came home. So, yes, my mother knows now what I'm up to down here. That I'm doing a little filming. I'm gonna set that over there now. Now, hey, if these edges tear off, beautiful pieces to use later on. They're just soaked with color, and they get a really deep, rich color that looks really beautiful in collage. Now, these papers can be written on. You can write on these. They look dark, but I've used them to write, and the writing shows up beautifully. And it really makes those journals really extra special. All right, this one needs a little something. Let's put a little blue in here. And a little orange. There's my blue. I'm starting to dip too deep down in there for... And a little orange. All right. And we'll bring another sheet over here. And they'll share. Actually, what I'm going to do is flip it over and put it on the bottom. And there. And there we go. Now, let's bring this one over. They're really sticking together. Just gentle, gentle, gentle. Treat it like a baby. Gentle, gentle, like a child, like something you love. Because this paper is going to love you back. Blue. It's going to give you as much love and attention back as you give it. All right. Water. Oh, these are pretty saturated. There it goes, splattering all over the table, all over the other papers. Not that it's going to hurt anything. Happy accidents, right? It's got to go where it's got to go. Even if it makes a mess. Let's see. Wrong place. I really like this side, so I'm going to call this done. And this one, is it 1 or 2? It's 1. I'm going to call this one done. So yeah, they might need a couple dunkings. They might need a couple run-throughs. You can do this to your taste, though. Maybe you like it really light, just a little bit. Maybe you want your coffee stain paper to show through. So that's all right. Just dampen it down a bit. Dip it where you want it to go, or squirt it with a pipette. And, oh, you see, there are bubbles developing. And the bubbles pop, and then it kind of ruins the look of the paper. I don't know if I've got one in my stack that'll show you what those bubbles end up looking like. And overboard. All right. So paper staining for this new journal. That is really a pretty. That'll look great. I love that. Perfect. Lots of orange, a tint of green. Perfect. Couple of these, I like the more orange ones. They're oh, and I just ripped into it pretty good. Let's try a different corner. You can kind of see where the paper weakens a bit. That's all right. Remember, you can use this for collage. You can use it for anything. I just take those little pieces, put them all on the side. Take as much of this as I can now and lay it on the stack, the finished stack. Yeah, there's some really pretty ones right here in this stack. I wonder if this thing will help me. Yeah. Use the finger. Beautiful. Really pretty. It's a chillier day around here today, so I think I'm going to go flip on my stove down here in the basement, and I'm going to let these kind of dry on that. Beautiful. Another beautiful one. It's probably not coming through, but it's got that veining that I really like. Okay, this lacks orange. These are a crumpled mess, hindering. Let's see. Yeah, most of these need some orange. What are you doing in the craft room today? Are you doing something messy, or are you like it nice and neat? That's all right. Whichever way works for you, do what works for you. If these papers seem too dark for you and you're just not sure that's the way you want to go, that's fine. I'm good with that. Everyone should do what makes them happy. Life is too short to not be doing what makes you happy. All right. Approved. Crafter approved. I'm working over here a little bit out of your vision. But there you can see that. I'm just putting in a little bit, and then I'm taking my kind of moving it around. I want a little blue in there too. Drop of blue. This again is the hydrangea blue. And lid on. Don't forget to put the lid on. All right. Here's this paper. Okay, move that one over. I think I'm going to move this one over. And I'm going to separate these two. They're being naughty together. They have not been good. They're little recalcitrant pieces of paper. All right, got a little blue left in here, a little green, and I want to get some of my orange. I got some orange to finish up. So it looks like maybe you would really use a lot of this, but it's amazing. I've not used very much of my Lindy's at all. It's not something that I get out very often. I think I've worked with it a couple times. I love it. But, all right, you there, and I'm finished with you. You're going to go over here to start drawing. Now, let that, sometimes it just gets to the point where it can't soak up anymore. Then you can just dab. If you feel like you get too much of something, dab. If you see those bubbles arise, dab. If you try this, maybe you'll decide, hey, I don't know if that mess is for me. Okay, there's a little piece. Don't want to save any of that hard work, or don't want to lose any of that hard work. All right. So those are sitting there. Now I'm going to go back to my pile of previously dyed. This is way overdone. That just hurts my eyes. That had a lot of the mica in it, and so it comes off real shiny in certain lights. This is just not the colors I'm working with today. This one, I don't know what I'll ever do with it. This one looks like a possibility to be able to kind of bring back to life, so I'm going to do that. Purple, I might try this one. It's a little lighter purple to pink. Purple, really shiny. See, you can just see it there. It's not wet at all, it's just shiny. And those, see what the other side look like. Sometimes the sides look really different, even shinier. So I've just not been able to work those in anywhere shiny. Now these are a little bit, they're purple. Okay, this gets kind of a muddy look. And that is those bubbles sitting up on there. And they cause that, there's another one, those bubbles. they just kind of ruin your surface. So when you see those bubbles popping up when you're going through your papers, knock those down, get rid of them. Bubbles. Shiny. I don't know that there's too much of this I'm going to be able to save. Shiny. And it's really good paper. It's super thick. It just, you'll notice the ends are not even, I mean, it just took all the abuse that I gave it that day. That one's kind of pretty, but shiny. If it's shiny, I'm not really in the mood to use it. It's got a little bit, but not too bad. Let's see. Not too bad. Not too bad, though it's purple, and I'm not sure purple is at all going to go with what I'm doing. Of course, I can dye for other reasons. Ooh, that's kind of a pretty color. These are some big sheets I did. Put it over there. Now I can see that foamy look. That's kind of a pretty page. I don't think I'm going to do anything to it. Put it over here. I'm telling you, I made a ton of this stuff. Yeah, kind of unexciting, isn't it? I'll throw it over there. See if I can't bring a little, I don't know, it's not going to fit in this journal, but maybe I can. That one doesn't look too shiny, so that might be salvageable. This one's too shiny, so I'll just leave it there. This one, yeah, I think that one might come back. And that's it. So I've got a big stack of paper. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that shiny stuff. But, you never do know. All right, let's work with this nice thick paper. Hopefully it won't tolerate, even though this is a second dunking after quite a while of sitting on my shelf. I'm going to set the pile over there and just bring them over as I need to. All right, first of all, I'm going to went down my, that'll get the process going. And I want to put a little coffee stain in there. Cooperate. No, I don't think you need coffee here. All right, I hear you. I'll listen. All right. That's kind of shiny, but we'll see what we can do. All right, orange. Orangey. I'm going to end up mixing up some more orange, and I don't care. It'll use some of it up. I have a ton of the Lindy's. I need to start using it more in my art. I really like putting in the texture and then drizzling that down and it working its way through it. And ooh, pretty stuff when you do that. And I have this beautiful color called Moon Dust, Moon Shadow. Oh, and it has a bit of the mica in it, but it is, love that paper. Love it very much. All right, so this will get on the bottom and I'll be able to share, they'll share their colors with each other. And luckily, they really work pretty well together. I'm not getting any muddy colors, which I'm real happy about. I don't want mud. I want bright, pretty, well, not bright, but, you know, sort of muted, but I do want them to have a pop. All right, this one just turned out like a little dream. All right, nice heavy paper. The heavier, so if you've got nice heavy paper at home, you are ready. The thinner copy, I think what I bought this last time was 24-pound weight copy paper. And I think I should have gone with the 32. That must have been what I got the first time. I was so excited when I got it at first, before I really opened it and got to feeling it and working with it. comparing it to these old papers. This is going to turn muddy. Let's see, can we stop it from turning muddy? Let's see what we can do. Anyway, so next time I order, I noticed the 32 pound was pretty pricey, but I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I put a lot of money in here and I need to use what I have, right? Oops, I can see that one had some ink in it. If you dip your pipette too far down, which I just did, that's what happens. And a little more blue. Not too far down. Careful, careful. All right. And I'm going to kind of just taking a pouring now. So I'm going to bring in another sheet. I don't know how this blue and green is going to work with pink. I don't know. The truth all comes out when it's dry. But you sort of get to the point where you can tell, hey, this is pretty well stained. This one's pretty well stained. Love that side. Just gonna take this, mop up a bit, let it absorb some of the moisture. Take it over here, let it absorb some of the moisture. Some of these lighter papers were pages that I would put between there to kind of, just so it wasn't sitting there just sopping wet. All right, so that's what I did. I took a dryer sheet, a dry piece of paper, not a dryer sheet for the dryer to make your clothes not staticky, but a piece of paper that is dry and or not so wet, and let it mop up, use up some of that water that you're getting on there that you've used to get this effect. Okay, I'll lay that down. Take this page. This side's pretty dry. Kind of sop it up. Should have been, I remember now. See, it's kind of coming back to me when I did. I remember now that was something I did to kind of keep it dry. All right. Interesting. A little more blue. Maybe I have some in my pipette. Oh, yeah. And a little orange. Oops, I used the blue pipette. I'll probably make it a little brownish. All right. Run, run, run to other places. Go to other places. Share your joy with others. All right. Water. Water. Let's get that watery. Kind of water it down a bit. I don't want the... All right. Good. Share. Share with others. Everything you need to know you learned in kindergarten, right? Share. Be kind. Be thoughtful. Share. I already mentioned that, I know. It's important. We should do it as much as we can. All right. I think that's good. This corner's kind of dry. I've got some greens over here. Maybe we'll pick up that green. I need to wet it down though. Let me spray. Don't go everywhere. Come on, green. Give a little bit to this paper. Share a little bit of your beauty. You drop dead gorgeous green. All right, over here, but now before I take it, I'm gonna take this dry sheet. Let it kind of want it to get bubbles. No bubbles. No foam. All right. That side's pretty. Absorb. Bring up the water. It doesn't really give up much color at this point. Once the color's kind of down in the paper, the color's kind of set now. All right, there's a little piece I'm going to to the edge. Somewhere it will find a home. I noticed I don't want to keep the paper towels, but every drop of this paper I want to keep. I just would find, I find when I'm collaging, just those little torn pieces, they so quickly find a home. There's just some place that it's going to work. So, I'm not sure about this piece of paper. It's a little, let's see, what can we do to save you? A little piece of paper. You look kind of pathetic. Look sad. You need some color and some coffee. The coffee will perk you up. Oh my, we had wind yesterday. It was quite, I guess around noon. We're supposed to get some more, but we did get a teeny tiny bit of rain, which every little drop counts. It's important. All right, I'm dipping into the green. The drop dead gorgeous green, green and pink. And a little blue. I'm almost out of my orange, and then I think I'm going to go back to the spray bottle for that. Try to take it off the top. I'm just going to work with these 3 colors today. I've got tons of colors that I could use, but I think it's kind of, all right, I think it's kind of important to just kind of focus on this color. Now this I will not use in my book. This will just go into my stash. Let's see, we got a big sheet here. It ought to, ooh, here comes everything. All right. Again, mop up what I got sitting on top. Now when it's wet like that and it's laying on top, and it does need to come off so it doesn't foam, develop that foam. You can see already, I don't struggle as much picking up these papers as I did the really thin ones. So if you decide to do this, go get yourself some 32-pound weight paper, or maybe even 28. I think they do 28s. And try it with that. I think I'm gonna just use that for my base. All right, I've got all that purple. I think I'm happy with what I have here. I've got quite a stack. I think we've done 45 minutes of this, and that's the way it is. I will come back and show you after it's dried, and we'll kind of look through the papers then. But this is the process, so remember, you don't have to have Lindy's Stamp Gang's sprays, though I think they are terrific. Just remember to look for the flats unless you do want a sheen to it. But anyway, remember you could use watercolor, you can use the inks, the distress inks if you want to. Use what you got, and you know, take it. If you think my papers are too dark, hey, tell me about it. But you know, I like it dark. I like that dark color that comes about from these. So, and I've got some that aren't too dark, and they will lighten up a bit as they dry. But hey, I've had a lot of fun, and in just in just an hour, hour and a half, I've got a nice stack of papers here that is definitely going to get me through my this journal. Where did I put what? I showed you the cover. But anyway, the one that goes with these papers. I think that we've got paper to go with that. So, all right, maybe not a lot, but we will have some. And then I'm sure I will, because I know, especially when I got the colors right, when they weren't foamy, I was continually finding places to use these pages. So I think you'll find them a useful tool in your craft room. And like I said, don't want them so dark, then don't make them dark. If you want a cooler color. And then another thing you can do is when you are done, and if they are done, take some gesso and go over them, and that brings them down. And then you can lay some distress ink over them, and they really look amazing that way. All right, I will come back later, show you some of the dried papers, and thank you very much. I'll see you then. Hi, I'm back. All right. I dried the papers a little. They're not completely dried, but enough that we can go through them and look at them. All right, so I took some papers over to my new stove. We've gotten a new propane heater for the house. The house is total electric, so we need a backup in case the electricity goes out, so things don't. But anyway, my old one was on its last leg, and it never did get too hot, and I could put them on there, and it didn't really burn the paper. This did some burning. I know some of you might like that. This strip through here is just like a bunch of little cells. It's kind of cool. I would definitely use this in my book. This is the thinner paper, and it's not getting the depth that I think you'll see that I'm getting when I use the thicker paper. So anyway, but nice nonetheless. All right, another one of those that was on the stove. This had some good color in it, kind of obscured by the lines. Again, where it was on that thicker part, it's got that cell-like stuff going on. And I really like the look of that. This paper had beautiful color, a little bit, again, kind of just hard to see with the lines and the burning of the paper a little bit, but again, a paper I would use. All right, this is some of the thicker paper. It went on the stove, and it handled the stove pretty well. But I really like the depth of color here. The sides, color's really nice. Again, now this is a little splotchy, but it has potential. Not too bad. Lines are not too bad. All right, I think this is the last of the paper that I put on the stove. I started out there, and then, or the propane stove. So I started out there, and then I decided, no, time to get out the heat tool. I really want to see what's going on. Oh, sorry, I guess this is one more that was on the stove. It's a little bit more subtle, but you can really see the colors well. Really nice. I lied to you. There were two more. And this one was on the stove. Depth of color. Because these were a couple of the old sheets that I had done before that I re-stained today. And they handled the water, they absorbed the color. It gets depth to it that I'm not seeing in the thinner paper. And I'll show you what I mean as we go on. So I'm going to kind of set that to the side for an example of one. Again, the older paper, there's a lot of depth. It looks like layers. All right, thin sheet. Didn't quite absorb the color, though it's a softer and muted look. And I think this is gonna look really beautiful in my journal, even though it didn't grab the color the way these papers did. But like I said, a kind of subtle, really pretty look. All right, thin paper. Had a hard time handling the water too. This one tore, and they're still a little damp. But there's some depth there, a bit of the layering there that's really not too bad. Again, this is another paper I would use in my journal. All right, we're to the thicker paper. And I can see the veining that I love to see. And the color is a bit more pop to it. And I like that. Yeah, I could tell that was one of my older papers that I've gone over because I didn't use that unless I had dissolved it. So the Lindy Stamp Gang, the dry stuff. I didn't just throw it on like I did the first time that I made these. All right, I love this. Great depth of color. It held on to the orange particularly. And I like that. I really like this side too. Well, it's still a little damp, so I'm sure it will change a little bit more as it dries. But yeah, this is a favorite of mine. The thicker paper, absorbing the colors, depth of color, nice depth there. All right. Oops, they're caught. Don't curl up. Stop that. All right. Another one of the thicker pages, the ones that I had stained before. On my first try at doing this is my second time doing it, but I did it for like 3 days the first time, so I did quite a bit of it that first round, but this is my second round of doing it. Sorry I didn't wash up. Yeah, not too bad. Love this one. Love, love, love. Definitely wanted to go in my journal if it fits in. I think it will. I think the colors are great. Down here, love this orange coming through. Can you tell this is thinner paper? Not absorbing the color. It's not able to, just not enough oomph in the paper to be able to absorb it. Now I have a bunch of 11 by 17 I was showing you. I use this to dry off. And it's the thick paper. It's this thicker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it, cut it in half. That'll give me my 8.5 by 11s. And I'm going to continue staining this afternoon some more since I've got them out, making a mess. And I'm going to use this paper because the thin copy paper that I ordered is just not enough to it. This is beautiful nonetheless. I would put this in my journal, but corners torn, as you can see. This paper is really, this thin paper has a hard time handling all the water that I use in that staining process. This is a pretty one, and the paper held up pretty well, although there's cracking in it. This side I loved, and again, this is one that I think will go really well in this journal. Let me grab my cover for you. But I think that's right there. Again, another one, not too bad. Not the depth I want, but not too bad. Not too bad. Thin paper. Thin paper. It'll work. Thin paper. Again, not bad. Oh, you know what? I think this is a thicker sheet. Yeah, I'm feeling it. It is a thicker sheet here. It's hard to tell the difference but that is thicker paper. Still, this would have been one that I'm going over again. I'm anxious to try it with the clear white new paper and see how it absorbs the stain from there. And then this is thin. All right, well, that was just a short little session, a couple hours doing this. It took longer to dry than it probably did to actually stain the paper. I'm pretty happy with how they turned out, but definitively I want to use heavier paper, higher poundage paper for these, because I just like the effect a little bit better. And I'm going to choose probably to dry with my heat tool and my blow dryer than to use that stove again. Plus, I noticed some of the paper stuck to it. I need to get that cleaned off before it. It's a brand new stove. It's beautiful. Brand new heater. I call it a stove. I don't know why. But anyway. All right. That's today with the staining the papers. I hope you'll give it a try. Remember, you don't need to have Lindy's, but if you have it, grab it, try it. Otherwise, grab your watercolor, grab your distress inks, and go have a play. See what you think. Make a mess. Get your hands stained, or if you don't want them stained, get your gloves on. If you are using the dry, I would not sprinkle that on directly onto the paper unless you like that kind of splattered speckled look. If you like that, then go that way. Otherwise, you might try just putting some in a little bowl or a disposable thing like this. Mix it with some water, and it'll get you set right up. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, think about subscribing to my channel. Hit the like button and leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Did you like the lighter pages, the darker pages? Would you wear gloves if you were on film so that your dirty hands aren't showing? I'm anxious to hear from you all. So, hey, have a wonderful and blessed day. Thanks for tuning in.